import data into R. But instead of me giving you the exact code to import the data, let's use some code as a template that we can modify to import new data. And the data we're going to use is from figure 1K of this paper here on Adipson. And this link goes to the paper, and this link is the public source of the paper, and we've got a direct link to the data source. So we want the data for figure 1K. Which is right here. So let's download that. Let's grab the name of the paper so we can name our folder. And here's our download. Here's our downloaded file here. And let's drag that over to our project folder. So I've just inserted the data file into its own folder and named the folder the name of the paper. And I'm going to drag that folder into the data folder of the project directory. There we go. And let's move over to our R code and use this chunk as a template for importing these new data. Right, so I'm going to just paste it there. I'm going to give this chunk a header. Import Adipson figure 1K. Okay. So let's open those data. And I've already got it on figure 1K, tab 1K there. That's what we want to open. So the first thing we need to change is the name of the folder. I put my cursor on the folder, hit Command-C to copy that folder name. I'm going to replace. We need to replace the name of the data set there. So go back to the Finder, put my cursor onto the file. Command-C copies the name of the file, and we want to replace. Okay. We don't want to call it chick. We might call it something like figure 1K. And file path, that should be all corrected now. The sheet is not nestling mass. What is the name of the sheet? The sheet is figure 1K. So I'm going to click in there. I'm going to double click on it, highlight the name of the tab. Command-C copies it. Paste that in. Again, copying and pasting names is the way to avoid typos, which will give you runtime errors when you try to run the R code. So let's replace all of these. Actually, we'll just work from the top. We need a range. We don't want to read in this entire sheet. We just want to read in from A3 through B9, okay, which includes the column names or the headers for our data. So let's put a range statement in here. Range equals A3 through B9. All right. I'm not going to clean the names because these data are in wide format, and what we want to do is we want to take this column here and stack it underneath that column, and then create a new column which maps which of these data points goes to which of these treatment groups. So let's just convert that to a data table. And I'm going to put my pipe function, and we're going to convert what we've just read into a data table. Let's just see where we are once we get that far. Right? Let's run it. That was a weird bug on my part. There we go. We're going to convert figure 1K to data table. Now let's run it again. Okay. Let's view our data and we can see what it looks like. There it is. And we can see we have it in wide format. So we want to melt this into long format, putting all of these data values into a single column, and creating a new column which has the treatment value, which are those column names. We go back to our data. I'm going to hit Command S just to save it. And since our data is wide, I'm going to rename this figure 1K wide so that our new file can just be called figure 1K. Right? And we want to melt figure 1K wide. And the columns that we want to melt are actually the treatment variables. So let's actually do that. Let's create a variable called treatment levels. I'm going to go over to the Excel file and I'm going to copy them and paste it into the concat statement. Put it within quotes. Separate with my comma. And now I've ensured that in fact what is written here is that column name. What is written here is that column name. All right. So our measure variables are the treatment levels. And we want to give the new column, treatment, and the column with the values and what are these? Figure 1K, PDF. That figure one is way down at the bottom. Figure 1, there it is. So it's figure 1K. Glucose uptake. So we go back to our R and we'll call this glucose uptake. Here we go. Nope. And we have the bug. Object figure 1K wide not found. It's not found because I actually haven't run this code since I renamed it. So let's just run the whole thing, the whole chunk from the start. Here we go. And now let's view figure 1K. All right, and there we have it. So now we have our new file with the treatment in column 1 and the glucose uptake values in column 2. You see that these data, row 12, there's no value for this particular individual. This individual doesn't have any other measurements, so there's no reason to have row 12 in this data set. And we can get rid of that. It's not necessary, but may as well do it. Get rid of that by just putting a little pipe after the melt statement, and we're going to send figure 1K to the na.omit function, which will omit the value. All right, so I'm going to rerun this line, including the na omit, And now when we look at figure 1K, you can see that there's no row 12 with a missing value.